Welcome to the Varsity Voices podcast, where every week we bring you the inside information and insight on Chicago Catholic League football. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and like us wherever you're listening from. And you can find us on social media as well on X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search for the Varsity Voices Chicago Catholic League. Feel free to leave us comments if you want to, anywhere that you're either listening or reading about us. You can email us at varsityvoices312@gmail.com. I'm Joe Frevaletti, and here with me is my co-host, Dan Frevaletti. And we are back, Dan, with another episode of the Prognosticus, who is our mythological creature that we've created, who predicts the winners of football games. Is that right?
That's right. But he gives us both different information sometimes. So our picks aren't always spot on, right? With one another, I should say. We're going to lose picks for sure. But Prognosticus, I think, it's how we interpret what he gives us. I think that leads us to the differences in some of our picks.
Yeah,
it's all about interpretation.
Yeah, and people have not seen Prognosticus yet.
Oh, they will.
What he actually looks like, but
right.
When you do, you'll see that he only communicates with us through little hoots and sounds like that. So the interpretation is completely left to us. I don't know how you interpret a hoot. But
yeah, he is difficult to understand. So I'm still getting used to it. I think sometimes I've got him wrong because his huge talons, he buries them in my neck and shoulders.
And he says, "Hoot, listen."
Idiot. You guys suck. I understood that.
Right, I understand that. Well, our last episode, Dan, we previewed and gave some of our predictions for the green, orange, and purple divisions. For this one, we're going with the red, white, and blue, right?
Keeping it patriotic, yeah.
Patriotic, for sure. And we've got some really good games in the red, white, and blue, Dan. Starting with the red division. Let's go right to Marmion, right? Who had a nice win in the first week over Oak Forest, 21-15. Didn't start out great for them, but it seems like they kind of they really caught fire, right? I'll say in the second half, and I think they outscored Oak Forest maybe by 16 points in the second half. Came away with a win, 21-15.
Yeah, great to have a comeback victory. That feels really good. You've got things you can teach off of the video. Ways to get better, and then to do that, to be able to do that and come away with a victory is really solid and a good feeling for Marmion, I'm sure.
Yeah, and they go up against the Noble Academy this Friday. Marmion, it's a home game for Marmion. The Noble Academy, unfortunately for them, they played St. Lawrence in week 1, and I believe the score was 72-8. Dan,
yeah. So Noble Academy took it on the chin. Yeah,
they sure did. I do give them credit. I think they're one of the only teams or schools within that Noble League that's actually put together a team this year and getting out there and playing some games. But I'm not sure why they picked the CCL for some of the first games of their year.
Yeah, that's a struggle, and I don't know what the incentive is if they want to try and show their players, the best football to see, how they can build a program. But it was a struggle last week. And Joe, I think at Marmion, I think maybe not more of the same for Noble Academy, but I do think Marmion wins this one going away. I just don't think the Noble Academy is up for this level of competition on a week in and week out basis. It's probably going to prepare them for league games. Hopefully it does that, and that's always a good thing. to be prepared. But I think Marmion's going to be too much for him, and comes away with the victory.
Yeah, I think so too, Dan. So we're in agreement on this one. I'm picking Marmion as well over the Noble Academy for this Friday. So you and I are, and Prognosticus, we interpreted it the right way. We're both going with Marmion. All
Okay.
right. Yeah. So let's move on to De La Salle. De La Salle plays Foreman this Friday. They play him at home. De La Salle had a tough first week. I guess that's just the way I'll put it, Dan. I mean, they lost to Argo 45-0. There's some other things with injuries and that, and their numbers being down where they had to. I think they had to suspend the game or call the game, in the fourth quarter at some point because, due to injuries, they weren't able to kind of field a full team. So, anytime you hear something like that, it's not good. And to me, it's disconcerting. I hate to hear it. But, they got through week one, even though with a big loss. I mean, Foreman lost as well to, I believe they played Kelly in the first week, 26-12. But I'm not sure what to think of De La Salle after week one here going forward, Dan.
Yeah, you don't know how serious those injuries are. We're not going to hear that. We haven't heard anything about the game being suspended this week. I'm going to guess De La Salle wants to play this. I think they've got a good opportunity this week at home against Foreman. So this should be a good matchup for him. I watched the game. Argo's got some players. Argo's got a big back that could really run. And De La Salle struggled with the physicality that Argo had. I don't think that'll be the case with Foreman. I think if De La Salle can get a group out there, I think they've got a good shot to win. I'm picking them this week, so hopefully they can tape up some ankles and take a couple Advil and get on the field, and because I think if they do, they win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to pick De La Salle as well in this game. I think Coach Blackman kind of rights the ship after week one, so to speak, and as long as, like you said, they get some of those players back that were injured, and they can get the players that they need out there on the field. I think if they're able to do that, and hopefully they are, they'll come away with a win against against Foreman. So I'm going to pick De La Salle as well in this one, Dan.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on to Leo.
Move on to Leo, and who do they play this week?
They have Amundsen this week.
So Amundsen, right?
South side versus North side. So I think Leo travels to Amundsen.
They do. Yep.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a challenge. I think Amundsen is one of the public school teams that's on the way up. And I think they're big school. They've got a good student body. I think they are trying to focus, and one of those schools that's trying to get better. And I think they have some success this week, Joe. Unfortunately, I'm gonna pick Amundsen this week against Leo. I think they've got a good offense. They can score some points. So I think at Amundsen that might be a struggle for Leo this week.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go the other way, Dan, and I'm going to pick Leo. I think I think they might have had first half jitters in their first game against Genoa Kingston. In the second half, I think they outscored Genoa Kingston by maybe 16 points. Even though Genoa Kingston had in some of their second string players, I guess is how I'll put it. But I think Leo maybe got their feet underneath them in that second half, and I think they're going to come out much better this week. So I'm going to pick Leo this week over Amundsen.
Okay, our first differing opinion. So
first differing opinion.
The hoots were interpreted differently by us and by Prognosticus. So we'll have to see. Sure. We'll have to see what he meant.
Yeah, we'll have to watch the game. No, that game is on. That's a Saturday, so
that's Saturday. Yep.
We can watch that one. Okay.
Yeah, as is the next game with Marion Catholic, and I started this game. Marion Catholic, Homewood Flossmoor
Big
rivalry
game, big
game.
game. Yep.
Yep, 4 miles apart, I think. If my maps serve me correct, I think that's opening some older files from when we first started. But Joe, Homewood Flossmoor, I thought this was a typo when I saw the score. How bad they beat Bolingbrook,
Right. I
and
did too. I can't believe
yeah,
it. Yeah.
they've always kind of been a school that has had great athletes. They've advanced far. They've been in state championship games in recent memory. Um, but maybe they've got great facilities. Could be considered maybe a bit of an underachiever, but boy, to take it to Bolingbrook like that was something else and an eye opener for me, and it swayed my opinion, Joe. So, I've got to go with HF on this one because I think they look to be a pretty powerful team this year. We don't know what that says about Bolingbrook. I know they've gone through some changes, but HF to beat that big powerful program like they did tells me they're a pretty good football team.
Yeah, I think they are too. Anytime you can put that number of points on the board, that's huge. Marion's defense is always good. I think they held Rich Township to no points, right? So, maybe that means something here in this game. As far as Marion is concerned, and holding Homewood Flossmoor down a bit, but I think, like you said, the athletes that Homewood Flossmoor has on their side and the explosiveness and the ability to score a lot of points. I think it's going to be tough for Marion Catholic to hold them down, and then Marion Catholic to really match them on the offensive side of the ball. Marion scored 25 points, but I don't think that they have quite the offense that Homewood Flossmoor has. So I don't think they're going to be able to stick with them score for score here. So I'm picking Homewood Flossmoor as well in this one.
All right. So let's see. So we both picked HF on that one. So all right, we're in agreement on 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Yep. And then now let's move to the white division.
All right. Who do
Red,
you want
white,
to
and
start
blue.
with there, Joe? In the white division, got some good games here as well.
Some good games.
Some interesting ones and some common opponents. So be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, let's start with Montini. You mentioned common opponents. So Montini plays Hillcrest. Bennett played Hillcrest last week and beat them. What do you think about this game, Dan?
I think it's going to be similar for Hillcrest. I think that they have to play at Montini, and I think Montini's defense is outstanding.
Right.
They are big up front. They run really well on the second level. So they look to have really the exact type of pieces that you want in the desired spots defensively. I think they are always capable offensively. They have quick guys, fast guys, some big guys that carry the ball, and an experienced quarterback that knows how to get those playmakers the football in space. That to me spells some trouble for Hillcrest at Montini. And excuse me, I know that some people think Hillcrest is going to have a really nice season. Their offense struggled against Bennett, to do anything consistently. I think it'll be more of the same for Hillcrest this week.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if I'm comparing defenses, right, and I'm comparing Montini and Bennett, I'm giving the nod to Montini on the defensive side of the ball here. But so I think they're going to be really tough to score some points against for Hillcrest based on what we saw of their offense last week, and Montini was on the offensive side of the ball was able to put a lot of points on the board, and they had the majority of their starters out after within the first half. I know their quarterback Carbonaro was out, some of their wide receivers, their running back. So if Montini probably could have put up 60 last week if they wanted to against Hyde Park, but
Yeah, and I didn't
um,
see Montini in any top 25s this week either, which
no,
surprised
they
me. I think they're going to continue to surprise people. They're going to creep their way into there.
yeah, eventually they're going to come around to our way of thinking, and Prognosticus has told us this as well. So we
Right.
believe they're gonna crack the top 25
He's
soon.
a fan
Dan,
of the Broncos. Yep.
he is a fan of the Broncos, so we're both picking Montini here.
Okay.
All right, what about St. Lawrence? St. Lawrence travels to Evanston. Evanston beat Zion Benton last week. I think they scored 41 points, 41-20. So they can put some points on the board. But if you look at the other side of the coin, I know St. Lawrence scored 72 points against Noble Academy. Um, so maybe some two really good offenses here kind of squaring off against each other, Dan.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get a good idea of St. Lawrence, better idea of St. Lawrence this week. They travel to Evanston, so it'll be a good matchup of St. Lawrence, against a big school. So that'll be interesting. I don't think that the margin of victory will be the same for St. Lawrence. I do think St. Lawrence will win this game, but I think they will have a little bit more difficult time with Evanston than they did with Noble Academy. But St. Lawrence seems to have reloaded um, and look to be in a good position this year. This I think it's a reason why we really like the white division. We
Right.
think it's four really good teams. So this will be interesting to see how St. Lawrence does this week. But they're my pick for this week.
Yep, they're mine too. So I think they're gonna come out on top as well, even though they're traveling to Evanston, and playing there on Friday night. But I think St. Lawrence takes care of business here and comes away with the win against Evanston. Um, how about Carmel Catholic?
Yeah,
Um,
so another really good team in this division. So they pounded Grays Lake Central,
right,
which we kind of thought they would,
right,
and 63 points. Um, they are a team to be reckoned with for sure. They probably don't like us talking up Montini so much, but in St. Lawrence. But that's just how this division is, because you can say
right.
the same thing for Fenwick. But yeah, they're really good. They're going to be a handful for Lake Forest. That's had a better program. They're 1-0, so they are. They did get a win against the Lakes. They scored 35 points. So I think it's going to be a similar story for Carmel this week as it is for St. Lawrence. I think obviously the margin of victory won't be the same. It's going to be a much tighter game. You could call this maybe a rivalry. They are both up there up north. So I do think that Carmel wins this game, but I think it'll be much closer than obviously their week one.
Yeah, and how about Trey Taylor, Dan? As good
He's
as
something else.
advertised, right?
Yeah, as good as
I
advertised.
mean,
He's
four
something
TD
else.
passes. I watched some of the videos, some of the footage of him, and for a sophomore, I don't know if I've seen a sophomore high school quarterback as talented and with the arm talent that Trey Taylor has.
Yeah, and I was coaching when we played against JJ McCarthy, and there's been comparisons out there to JJ, at least as far as level of recruit that Trey Taylor is. And it's pretty similar. They can control and win a game with their arm. Both pretty similar in those respects. So it'd be really interesting to see how Carmel does and Trey Taylor does this week against a better Lake Forest team. So, but yeah, so far as good as advertised.
Yep, as good as advertised, and I'm going with Carmel as well in this game, Dan. So we're on the same page there, and now we move to Fenwick and big game, big CCL game, right? Fenwick against St. Ignatius.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good one. So both teams with big victories last week. Fenwick over OPRF, 30-0. So a great victory for them, and they have two rivalry games, right out of the gate. And we talked to Coach Battaglia about that. He was excited for it. Really wanted to have those tests early on. Liked the fact that they had that. That felt like it gave them focus for the summer. And this will be a great test. I think it is going to be a great challenge for Fenwick. That offense for St. Ignatius has just been outstanding. Excuse me. And you know, Jack Wanzung was awesome.
Yep,
Week one, he could really run that offense.
he can. And
And
yep,
Fenwick played a couple quarterbacks. They each did well. Um, so it'll be this game's going to be really interesting, and it's probably going to be a pretty tight game, Joe. I'm going to go with Ignatius. I think they're kind of rolling right now. I
right.
think they have. I think they've got things in place to really give people problems in the Blue Division and in the Catholic League, and I think we'll see that this week. So my pick is Saint Ignatius to beat Fenwick this week um, at Fenwick.
Yeah, this is a tough game for me to pick. I know last year, I think they played the second game of the year as well last year, and Fenwick won that game 27-13. Um, Fenwick's defense looked pretty good. I mean, giving up no points, right, is always a good thing. Ignatius, obviously has to prepare for couple of quarterbacks, right? In Frankie Hosty and the junior Jamin Williams, as well as I saw they got Nate Marshall in on offense at tight end, scoring a touchdown as well. So I'm going to go the other way on this, Dan. I'm going to go with Fenwick over Ignatius in this game.
Okay, wow, that's good. That's good. It's good that we have a difference of opinion there. So we've got something to watch. We got a little bragging rights on it. We'll see if we interpreted the prognosticus properly. So say that 10 times fast.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll be interested to watch this one. This one's Friday night at 7:30. Definitely one we'll be covering on Friday Night Blitz.
Yeah. Yeah. So be sure to tune in for Friday Night Blitz. Make sure you get all the updates on the scores and happenings around the CCL. So that's the white division, Dan. Now we've got one left, and that's the blue division. And let's start with another big game within the two CCL teams. We've got Brother Rice against Marist this week.
Yeah, and we talked about that one a little bit in our previous episode. This is going to be a barn burner. It is at Brother Rice, so I think I had that wrong in our last episode, so wanted to make sure I cleared that up. But Brother Rice has some new looks, new faces on the team. They get Christian Pierce back. Their outstanding middle linebacker, maybe arguably the best defender in the Catholic League, and that's arguable. But he's really good. And but that being said, Joe, my pick was Marist, so I'm going to stick with that. I think they've got some great talent. I think they are coming together. I think the new coaching staff is doing a great job. It's kind of the what's old is new again, and new is old again. So they are really in good spots. So my pick is Marist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I picked Brother Rice. We were opposite on this one in our last episode. I do think Marist quarterback Jake Ritter. I think he had 4 TD passes last week. He's going to need to step up big time again this week if they're going to beat Brother Rice. I think what puts Brother Rice over the top, and I said this in our last episode, is Tyler Lofton, their running back. I think he's just an electric player, makes a huge difference. So I think that coupled with it's a home game for Brother Rice. I'm going with Brother Rice in this game.
The Battle of Pulaski.
Battle of Pulaski.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. So then we've got another great game, Mount Carmel and St. Rita.
Yeah, again,
Yeah.
touched on it in the previous episode,
Yep.
and another rivalry game. They've played a million times against one another. This is going to be packed, a packed stadium. It's going to be at St. Rita, so that always is a huge draw. The South Side is going to be jumping
Sure is.
Friday
Yeah.
night, and that'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, if we weren't doing Friday Night Blitz, I'd want to be at this game or this game or the Marist Brother Rice game. Two really good rivalry games. I do think Mount Carmel is going to be too much. I was super impressed with their play week one. I thought their offense was outstanding. There's something about familiarity though that can keep things tight. Brother or Saint Rita knows them as well as anybody. So I am expecting another tight game, but I think Mount Carmel is too much right now for Saint Rita.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm picking Mount Carmel in this. I know St. Rita, their offense goes through their running back Nick Herman, who had a great first week, by the way. Um, but I think that the strength of that Mount Carmel defense is their defensive line and their linebackers for sure. So I think Rita's going to have a tough time moving the ball, running it, even though Nick Herman is an outstanding running back. Yeah, so in order for Rita, I think to really have a chance here, their quarterback, who I think is Steven Armbruster, he's really going to have to step up his game this week and maybe exploit what people may see as some kind of weakness in Mount Carmel in their pass defense. But all that said, I'm picking Mount Carmel in this, Dan.
Yeah, their offense is really explosive. So we were blown away by Jack Elliott's play, and at least I was.
I
I'll
was
speak for
too,
myself. Yeah,
for
he
sure.
was outstanding, and so I think he's a difference maker in any game he plays in, and I think that'll be the case this weekend.
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered 3 out of the 4 teams there, right?
Yeah,
We
we
just
already
talked about
touched on St.
Ignatius.
Ignatius. Yeah.
Yep. So what we've got left here is really a interesting game, maybe the most interesting game of the weekend, and that's Loyola Academy versus Glenbard West. And the reason I say it's the most interesting is just because of the way Loyola performed in week 1 against East St. Louis. I mean, just somewhat of a shocking loss, to East St. Louis, 38-7. Really getting dominated on both sides of the ball. And it's hard to determine what that means for Loyola going forward because, they've got Glenbard West, who lost, to Batavia. Batavia is always a really good team, but, Glenbard West is going to be, they're going to have a lot of talent on the field. And I'm just not sure what to make of Loyola at this point. So this will be a really interesting barometer to see, how this game goes and how Loyola kind of rebounds from last week.
Yeah, two perennial state powers at 0-1, right? You don't see that very often. So they are
No.
both really motivated. And you talked in our last episode about practice this week, and I'm sure both those practices were practice weeks have been really tough. They are probably really getting after it. So this is a game Saturday in Glen Ellen. So that's a really cool stadium, great place to play. Loyola's used to playing on Saturdays, so and this is one where I've gone back and forth on who to pick in this game, Joe, and I am going to say Loyola Academy gets shocked again. And I don't even know if you can call it shocked, but I think the Hilltoppers of Glenbard West make Loyola 0-2 this year, and what'll be one of the bigger stories of the first 2 weeks of the high school football season.
So are you sure you interpreted that hoot from Prognosticus the right way, Dan? I'll give you a second chance here. Yeah.
Nope, I am not sure that was the correct interpretation. So this one I I have gone back and forth. Prognosticus, I really was not feeling him at all. For this pick, so it was it was up in the air, and I kind of went with a narrative that it would be an incredible story for the preseason number one, kind of consensus number one within the state to be 0-2, and I just think Glenbard West gets it done this week at home.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to go with Loyola, even though I'm a little bit concerned about this pick. But Glenbard West. One of the things Loyola said, and the coaching staff said, as well as some of the players, is how much the team speed from East St. Louis that they weren't quite. Maybe I won't say they weren't quite prepared for, but they didn't quite understand, how much team speed there'd be on the East St. Louis. They're going to see, speed from Glenbard West, but nothing like they probably saw from East St. Louis. So I think they're going to be able to play more of their game than East St. Louis forced them into playing, East St. Louis's game. So I think that's going to make a big difference here for Loyola. Plus, like you said at the beginning, I can just imagine what the practices are like this week for Loyola. And I think they probably come out and they've got a huge chip on their shoulder, and they come away with the win against Glenbard West. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I do think it's going to be a close game, but I think Loyola gets back on track this week and knocks off Glenbard West.
All right, yeah, that'll be a fun one, and that's Saturday afternoon, like we mentioned. So that's I know there's other games Saturday, but that'll be one I'm keeping my eye on for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the other thing we want to make sure we let people know, even though that game's on Saturday, we won't be covering that on Friday Night Blitz, Dan. But we've got Friday Night Blitz coming up again this Friday, starting at 9:00. Make sure. You tune in, and we give you multiple ways to do that. We'll be sending out the link to participate in Friday Night Blitz on all of our social media, so on X and on Facebook, on Instagram, where you can join as an audience member and sit there and listen, or if you want to chat and be a part of it, you can do that. Or if you we're going to be live streaming as well, Dan, to X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, people can watch us there as well, and we'll be monitoring those sites too to see if anybody's making any comments. So, I'm excited about our second Friday Night Blitz episode. It should be a good one.
Yeah, get involved. It's we try and keep it light. We're doing a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of stuff going on, but we want to have fun. And the more people we can get who join us and chat and correspondents who check in, that just makes it better. So we're looking for it to be technically sound this Friday,
right.
And number one, and to have some fun. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of great games to cover, so it should be a fun night.
Yeah, and if you want to do more than just listen in as an audience member, and maybe you're going to be out at one of these games on Friday night, and you're feeling like you'd like to call in and give us some updates, and be one of our correspondents, so to speak, or one of our reporters live from the game. We'll put you on air, and you can do that as well. And if you feel like doing that, contact us on social media, or email us at varsityvoices312@gmail.com. All right, Dan, so that's it for our predictions for this week. And, we don't know how good Prognosticus has been to us until Saturday, Saturday evening sometime when all the games are over. But we'll be sure to report on how we did next week in one of our episodes.
Oh yeah, for sure, and I'm sure people will let us know. Right? There's always people out there who are very happy to let us know what we did wrong and right.
Right. Yeah, we hear that in all aspects of our life, right? Here's what you
Yes.
did right. Here's what you did wrong, right?
Just like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. That's our episode. We covered the red, white, and blue divisions. Gave some little bit of a preview and some of our predictions, and we hope you enjoyed it. And make sure you tune in on Friday night for our Friday night Blitz episode. All right. Thanks for listening.